How did they know my mum and dad established me in 1958? How does that work out? Oh my God. We're back. So 2021 in the
the old days of cheap tickets are probably long gone for the future.
I think
2021, when, and I think it'll be, my guess, somewhere in the summer. May, June, July, I think right in there is when international travel is going to open up, because by then most people, a lot of the people, especially in Western countries, are going to be vaccinated. They're going to want to travel, and they'll have worked out this whole vaccine passport app thing.
Yeah.
So at that point, the airlines, they're not going to be offering discounts for you to travel.
I go with that. I think what's going to, for me, as I've just said, looking at it, I think the world will slow down. I think people, they're up shit creek without a paddle because they've got so much debt.
Yeah.
They're living on credit card. Doesn't matter what country you're in at the moment, wherever you are in the world, you will be living within your means to keep your credit card bill below a certain amount.
That's assuming you have a job. There's a hell of a lot of people that don't have work.
Well, I was Delta Airways, that's linked into Virgin Airways. This is the reason I was watching this program. Between Virgin and Delta Airways, 13,000 people from those two airlines have been laid off in the last 10 months.
Yeah.
That is a lot of people. I think people will slow down. They will start travelling in their own countries, so they've actually got rid of their debt, got rid of what they actually owe. I think 2023, I think that travel bubble will start to open up. 2 more years away. I don't think people.
Well, that would be assuming that at some point this year, 2021, economies around the world start to turn around.
Oh yeah.
They're hitting rock bottom now, so they can only go up from here. But the question is when.
When does it go up?
When does it start going back up?
I was watching that thing on Bitcoin going to 35,000.
I heard it crashed back down.
Yeah, it crashed back to 27. Yeah. So it went up. But I was reading this article from a guy. He was the CEO of a investment company in London, and he sold 50% of his Bitcoin at Christmas when it was at 33,000 a Bitcoin, and he sold 50% of his portfolio, taking a few million and putting it to one side. So that's an investment bank or an investment company that see good strategic. He's actually taking that, and they're all having a go at this guy. But I look at it and think to myself, well, look on the other side. How much debt has he actually got? Is he sold Bitcoin to clear all of his debt, clear all of his mortgages, clear all of his loans? Because he sees 2021 being another difficult year for everybody. That there isn't going to be this.
He sounds like a smart guy, so he probably does see that.
It's a bit like you and me when we retired here. We have our fixed income coming in.
Right.
But if I was actually back in London working at the job I did have, I would be unemployed.
Me too.
I'd be unemployed.
I'd
be paying for a car that I couldn't afford because I had no money coming in. I'd have to pay for a house that I couldn't turn around and afford. I'd have electricity bill, I'd have debts, I'd have all this mounted for the last 10 months. So my outgoings were around £1,500 a month. So I'd owe around about about £6,000. If it continues like this, it'll be another six. That'll be £12,000. I'll be in debt. That'll be doing interest. Then I'd have to find a job. How long would it take me to pay off the 12,000?
Right.
It wouldn't be a month. I couldn't pay £1,000 a month to reduce my debt. I could pay maybe 200 quid. So you quadrupled so I've got a 5-year plan to get rid of £12,000.
Well,
I'm looking at 2026, 2027.
Yeah. Let's go back to the Philippines, though. I mean, the economies here in Southeast Asia, whether it's the Philippines or Vietnam or Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, they've all taken big hits. I mean, I was reading here, Singapore is down by, their economy was down by 6% last year. So they can only go up. Philippines is estimated to be down around 9%, maybe even 9.5%.
Is that the GDP?
Just as economic contraction.
Right, yeah, so.
And that's the worst the Philippines has been in decades. And this is a country with bad poverty and inequality. Very small, rich class with all the money.
And they borrowed
a hell of a lot of people that are poor.
And they borrowed a lot in the last year.
A lot.
And that 9% could be quite conservative, really. Might be 13 to 14%.
And then the government is dumb enough to come out and say, and they've already done this several times, right, for the past few months. We want people to stay home, do your business online. Well, do your banking online, do your shopping online, buy your food online, have Food Panda deliver it, or Grab deliver it. Which is ridiculous. There's people that can afford to do that. You and I can afford to do that, but we're foreigners. We've got our fixed income.
Correct. I go out like I am with you today. And the reason I'm out eating today is because if I was ordering this with Food Panda, I got a 39 peso delivery charge for some idiot, some guy running around on a bloody bike. Well, I've got a bike. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get a bit wet today because it's raining.
Yes.
But I'm not spending 39 pesos to go and make a delivery. I'm going out. I can use that 39 peso to buy a kilo of rice.
So most people here in the Philippines, and the government doesn't talk about this, aren't going to do business online. They're not going to have a bank account with online banking.
No.
Why? Because they're poor. They don't have the money.
They don't have that deposit to open the bank to turn around and keep 500 pesos in the bank account.
And this comes from the government. The Central Bank of the Philippines said the main problem around financial access is that the majority, 60%, do not have enough money to do anything online, much less open a bank account. That's why they can't go online. They can't open a bank account. They don't have enough money to do it.
Yeah.
60%.
So, if you're the government and you're watching this vlog, which I doubt, what I would suggest is that 60%, give them 5,000 pesos to open up their own bank account. Yeah? Get rid of all the bank charges from BDO and BPI and Metro Bank and all of those scamming companies that are pushing the poor poorer. Give them free access to internet banking. Give them 5,000 pesos to open that bank account and put it in a time deposit so they can't take it off and spend it on a brand new bike or a new lechon manok on a Sunday. That's what you want to do, government. If you want the 60% to go online and go banking, give them the resources so they can do it.
So
But I totally agree.
this is our advice for 2021 to the Filipino government. Take it for what it's worth. We're a couple of foreigners, right? But
what you got to remember, we have 110 years worth of knowledge over you guys that are only been there for 43 years. Yeah, I come from one country, Serrano comes from another. So you have the wealth of our American and European cultures put together in Pizza Hut.
in Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
But so, anyways, in conclusion, despite all this doom and gloom, all this
It's
bad
okay.
news.
I'm going to go to the toilet and hang myself, and I'll be back in a couple of seconds. Okay.
I want to offer at least a little bit of hope, right?
Yeah.
I believe, or at least hopefully, things are going to turn around. I know I said in the last one or the one before that I think the economy, this was the U.S. economy, the stock market's going to collapse or crash sometime around March, either before, after, or after. But in that area. But that's the U.S. stock market. And I know the world operates on the U.S. dollar. But that doesn't mean that every country in the world is going to go in the toilet just because the U.S. stock market crashes. Sure, they'll all be hurt. The global economy will be hurt.
Yeah.
But, and I mentioned this before too, it's been said Filipinos are resilient.
Yes.
They suffered a lot, continue to suffer a lot, but they're strong people. They're hardy people.
Yeah.
They can suffer a lot and still survive. I believe that too. They are good, strong people.
You can make a soup out of a handful of rice, 3 cups of water, and crack a boiled egg into that, and that will get you through the day. Okay, that's lugaw. However, if you were in the Western world, you'd need to turn around and have 3 Big Macs, 4 shakes, 2 fries, a couple of beers, and a bottle of Jack Daniels just to get through your day.
Yes.
So the difference is 2 pesos and 21,000 pesos. That's lifestyle.
If you could just get the Filipino government to do more to help their people, I believe they can do more, and they should. I know they're broke and they don't have any money.
Yeah.
And in fact,
and the deal that they did with China about 2 years ago hasn't come to fruition about borrowing money and build.
Oh,
so that's a bit of egg on somebody's face.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I think 2023.
They were going to build a railroad here in Mindanao.
Oh, it's going to happen.
When?
Well, when the Chinese or the Japanese builders decide to turn up and start the work.
Well, they've been talking about it for 2 or 3 years now. Oh yeah, we're going to build this railroad. It's going to circle Mindanao, run from all the major cities.
But it's only one track.
Yes.
So it only goes one way. So if you want to go to Tagum from Davao, you have to go through Cagayan de Oro, which would turn around and take you like 3 days. Which is bloody stupid. You're going to have a rail trip. You're going to design a railway, have trains going both ways, guys. Yeah. Or you're going to have a train going between 12 and 1 to Tagum, 1 to 2 back to Davao.
Their thinking is it's got to be quicker than a Carabao.
Yeah. But you could put a Carabao on the train.
Yeah.
And just send the Carabao.
Yeah.
They don't have an engine, so the Carabao is going to be pulling the carriages. I didn't know. I've looked at so many things since I've been in the Philippines, and
they were going to build a big dam project up in Luzon, and it was for Manila, right? To solve Manila has a water problem, right? So the Chinese said, we're going to come in and we're going to build this huge dam because we're good at dams. What they're famous for, the Three Rivers Gorge Dam, that huge. Anyways,
There's only just been signed off under safety policy after it's been operating for 10 years.
They were going to come in and build this huge dam for a reservoir to help Manila's water problem. Nothing's been done.
But do you know why it's not been done? Because they want to flood an area outside Manila that has 3 indigenous groups that are key to the history of the Philippines in those 3 valleys, and they want to flood their houses. So it goes against the environmental, illogical or ecological rulings and laws that have been set by the past governments. So this is the best place to build it, but you have to get rid of your history, culture, and 3 indigenous tribes that are in the Philippines. Going on about Chinese now. It's okay. I have one subscriber that was giving me a load of grief about looking at a Chinese motor car company yesterday, but hey ho, we don't worry about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, looking to buy a Chinese car and giving the money to the Communist Party. Well, I'm not giving it to the CCP. I don't support what the CCP stand for. I think they're an antiquated, archaic country with a leadership that is designed around their own beliefs. Here's a question for you guys. Who is the president or the leader of the CCP? And why does all of his family live in America and Canada? Very strange, isn't it? Why does his daughter go to Harvard University? Why doesn't she go to the Beijing School of Economy? Because it's crap, yeah? That's why she's in Harvard. You know that?
Well,
all of his family are educated and living because he's worried his family are going to be taken out and whacked when the next, when the next takeover happens. It's like what's that guy called from Alibaba?
Oh, Jack Ma.
Jack Ma, who's disappeared.
Who's disappeared.
Ooh, welcome to the Twilight Zone. I've challenged the Chinese government and the banking system, and he's a billionaire. He's got more money than me, he's got more knowledge than me. $60 billion he's worth. And he's disappeared. But he might be in hiding, but he might turn up in Boston with all of his money.
Or he could turn up in the courtroom of a Chinese judge. Saying, we don't appreciate your criticism of the Chinese Communist Party.
Of the CCP. So you're going to end up in a box.
You're going to jail for 20 years.
Yeah. But it'll be a very posh jail, wouldn't it? With $60 billion. He'll be able to remodel it and everything. He'll most probably have days out for his own use. A limo would pick him up at 9 o'clock to go and see his family, but return him at night time at 5, so he sleeps in jail. I don't know. Money talks, especially in China.
I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
I wouldn't want to be in China.
Yeah. Although there's a lot of expats living in China.
Yeah, there is. But they don't say a lot, do they?
No.
They keep their head down.
Yeah. It goes back to our previous keeping a low profile.
Keep a low profile. I crossed the Chinese government about 18 years ago. I flew into China to go on holiday, and I went to Sichuan and met up with some friends that were on a cruise ship that was part of the P&O brand, and we went back to the ship and I had a good time. I had a nice lunch and everything like that, and the purser on board thought I was working on board, so they set sail with me on board the ship, not realising that I was a day visitor on the ship, and they don't stop cruise ships from sailing and and I was outside of Chinese waters, and the customs and immigration got really shitty with me. They wanted me to get off the boat, and I said, well, I can't. I'm 17 miles out in the middle of the ocean. What do you want me to do? Swim? So they banned me from China, so I got a new passport. No, I got back to the UK. I would have got a new passport, and that meant I could go to China. But I won't go back to China because I'm on this little blacklist.
Yeah.
When I turn up, my picture and my name, so I'll keep away from China. They're a world to themselves. Yeah. That'll be something to be scary of. So, Mr. Jack Ma, wherever you are, enjoy your wealth.
They're a big influence here in the Philippines.
Yeah,
big.
They are. And I think that's what is frightening for the government, is because they have their fingers in lots of pies, and if you take away one of the pies, it would have a knock-on effect. A bit like what's happened now in Australia. Australia have turned around and said, get out, get out. China have turned around and struggled, and they're like asking for coal from Australia, and Australia saying, up yours.
Well, Australia is no different in one respect, which is they know they can afford to say that, right?
Yeah.
Give the finger to China, because who's backing them? Who allows them to do that? The U.S. The U.S. government,
Japan, Singapore, UK, France.
The U.S. military.
They're all sitting behind them.
And it's the same thing in the Philippines. But here, remember when Duterte took office 4 years ago?
Oh, he threw the Americans.
Yeah, he gave the Americans. He said, "Get out. I don't appreciate your attitudes and how you act." Well, then he brought them back in, right? Last year before.
The VFA.
After dealing with China and Xi, he said, "You know what? I don't think that was such a good idea. I think we need to bring the U.S. back in." Which is, he's trying to play the middle ground, right? He wants the Chinese Sinovac vaccine.
Yeah.
Although so far they haven't signed that deal.
But the thing is, when you sit on the fence for so long, you end up with blisters on both cheeks.
And now he's threatening the U.S., saying no more military here if you don't give us the Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah,
at least 20 million doses.
But at least he's going to pay for it. He's not asking for free, but he just wants to move from the bottom of the waiting list to up the top.
well, the point being, he's playing both sides of the fence here, right? I mean, he wants to do business with China, but he can't afford. He's discovered that he can't afford to piss off the Americans because he needs the American military. So the Chinese are a big influence here. Whether Duterte is right or wrong about playing both sides, I don't know.
Well, I think only history will tell us, won't it? 5 years down the road, we'll be looking at this, and we'll be sitting here going, "Hello, how are you?" My chin will be down here, and everything will be south. Will be going around my ankles, and I'll be 5 years less wiser. But we will turn around and look back at it as a fun time sitting in Pizza Hut.
2021, I can't. It's too hard to predict which way Bill's government's going to go here. I mean, to me, it's just my opinion. I think they're leaning more and more towards the U.S. and less with China.
Yeah.
Despite China's influence here in the Philippines.
I think Duterte is walking that fine line down the road. It's what I call Kit Kat management. It's in the middle of the road. It's either go left or go right, but you just sit there. And he's trying to appease both groups, but he's in the middle with China turn around and saying this, and the Americans saying that. I think Duterte is a popular president, and I think his daughter will be popular when she gets in 2022. I think Sarah Duterte will landslide herself in.
She's going to go up against Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, but Manny Pacquiao's only like 21 or 22, isn't he?
No.
Sitting in the ratings.
Manny is got to be at least 30-something. He's in his 30s, isn't he?
No, there was a survey carried out by the Inquirer, I think it was, in Manila. Sarah is sitting at like 72%. And then the next one below that, there's 3 other Filipino people sitting below that are all part of the Duterte party.
Yeah.
But Manny has just been voted in as is it the new chairperson for that LPA?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's the Duterte party. So Duterte stepped down and Manny Pacquiao's moved in, but I don't think he can go to the next level. I think it will be Duterte. Sarah Duterte will take it. But that's just my opinion. I think she's okay. She does what she says she's going to turn around and do, which is like, they're not a lot.
Well, like father, like daughter, or like daughter, like father.
Well, it's like the cycle paths around Davao. It took 5 years to get them to paint white lines on the side of the roads. I mean, that's like.
So
it's a bit like the
you're going to get more of the same if she's elected.
I think you're right.
I think like her dad.
I mean, I was watching an article, watching something on YouTube. Another one the other day. So I don't have a television, and I do watch a lot of MSN, and I watch a lot of news programs. And there was a guy turning around and saying that there's hundreds of people foreigners leaving Davao in the Philippines. Oh, I don't see that. Do you see that?
Well, it could be. I don't know. I'm not standing out at the airport watching every cab that comes in with a foreigner.
No.
But personally, I don't think there were very many foreigners here in the first place.
No, I don't think.
Davao's not a popular spot for foreigners. Not like Cebu.
Yeah.
Cebu's overrun with foreigners.
Yeah.
And Manila's even worse.
Yeah.
So, for a lot to leave Davao, yeah, I guess it's possible, but that a lot wouldn't be that many. Just because there's not that many here in the first place.
I still see the same faces when I go around the mountains. Where I'm going to G-Mark, there's a foreigner. It's quite easy to spot guys because they're usually around about 5'8" to 6'6".
Well, the way you would tell would be go down to BI, Bureau of Immigration, because this month, January, February, is annual report.
Okay.
Every year, foreigners are supposed to show up and fill out the annual report form.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh. And you pay a fee, you get a receipt, and you're done. But that would be where you would get your information, right?
Sure.
How many foreigners are here? How many have left?
That sounds very picking that up. I've never done that. I've been here for 2 years.
SRRV, you don't have to do the annual report.
Okay. Oh, that's why.
Only tourist visas, and in fact, my understanding is tourist visas are exempt because you're renewing your visa every 2 months.
Yeah.
They know you're here or not, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Like Bayan?
Well, that's a tourist visa.
Okay, well.
Technically.
Yeah.
But it's for 1 year. So maybe, I'm not sure about this whole category with tourist visa.
Yeah.
But 13A, which would be marriage, they have to report.
Okay.
What else? 9As, work permit visas.
Okay.
They have to report.
No, I don't know. I just go SRV in March and just pay my money and go down to the bank, and then it's over and done with for 12 months. Yeah.
But anyways, a good way to know your numbers would be with BI. I mean, technically, tourist visas tourist people. Do they count? Because they're supposed to be tourists. They're supposed to be here visiting and then leave.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I'll ask the SRV. There's a thing on their webpage, but because it's been suspended, the webpage doesn't work anymore, so you can't get into certain areas of the webpage.
Yeah.
And I think because you can actually look at how many SRR visas there are in each of the cities, and which country or which nationalities are actually in there. So I think there's 4 Brits that are in Mindanao. I'm one of the 4. There's just 3 other guys out there. Maybe not like me.
Here's what's funny. Who are the most foreigners? What is the biggest group?
Chinese.
Yes. By far and away is Chinese.
Over 27,000 are on the SRRV.
Who's next?
Korea.
Koreans.
Koreans, 18,000.
And then after them?
It's not Americans, because there's only 1,700 Americans on the SRRV program in the Philippines.
Really?
And there's only 1,100 Brits in the Philippines under that.
I thought the Americans would be...
I thought the Americans would be a lot higher. They're not. They're like 20,000 short of where the Chinese need to be.
Wow.
And they're over 15,000 short on the Koreans.
You know what?
Malaysia.
I would think, just from being here in Davao and being around, I would see almost as many Koreans as I would combine other foreigners.
Well, I've got a Korean friend who's based in Tagum, who I meet at the SRRV party, and he's got a lot going on. He's got so many fingers in these pies.
Yeah.
And he offers these stuff, and I go, I don't think that's legal. And he goes, I'm not being told otherwise. And I'm going, okay, right, I'm out of here. I'm not talking about this. He's got a Filipino girlfriend, but he's lived here for 12 years and he's not married.
So
anyway, let's draw a line in the sand.
I guess we're done with our 2021
prediction.
Forecast, predictions, best guesses.
So mine is going to be a bit like it is now. It's going to get harder, and I think it will recover 2022, 2023. It will get back to some sort of travel normality once everybody's paid off their debts and got rid of their loans and can afford to go out and travel on planes. Just looking at the price of flights at the moment.
I'm hopeful. Really, I am.
Well, you've got to go back. You've got to go back to the US this year.
I have to exit by September.
Have you looked at flights yet?
I have not looked at flights yet. Nobody that I'm aware of, nobody's taking reservations that far ahead. In fact, Cebu Pacific, which is just local, had a sale going on. Started over, I think, this last weekend, and I think it was the sale, which you can almost never get the sale price, even though they haven't. Was 199 pesos to major cities: Cebu City, Manila, Clark, from Davao, CDO, for 199 pesos, and they would not take a booking past April. So you could only book out to April for a flight. So I haven't looked internationally, but as far as I'm aware, no airlines are taking reservations.
Right, the only one I could get was Qatar Airways going into Qatar, back to London. I didn't look at New York. As I said, 71,000 pesos.
I mean, that's like 1,200 quid. Even if flight reservations were available that far out into September, I probably wouldn't make one right now, just because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. So I'm going to wait probably a couple months at least, see how things shake out with the vaccine. apps, travel apps.
What the rules and regulations are. Yeah.
What is all that going to look like? What's the projection for when? I mean, the Philippines is going to follow everybody else. They're never known for leading by example.
When you fly back to the States, do you fly direct to the States, or do you fly into Incheon or Singapore or Hong Kong?
Well, before the vaccine, before the virus, it was a trade-off. I would go online and I would search. I mean, I'm one of these people that prefers a direct flight. I would rather suffer the 14 hours flying time direct. I mean, I know there's other people that have different opinions. They can't take it. They can't be on a plane that long. They need a break. So they purposely book stopovers.
Yeah.
Right? Fly 8 hours, stopover in Incheon, Korea, or Taipei, Taiwan, or something like that, or Japan.
Well, I sit in that category. I like to have a little stop, but it ain't a long stop. It's 57 minutes or an hour.
Well,
that's me.
Hopefully you can arrange that, right?
Yeah.
But so what happens is when I go to book a flight, I'll first go to Philippine Airlines, PAL. They're the only ones that fly direct. They're not a great airline. They're just okay, if that. But it's direct flight. You don't have any choice. So that's where I look first. Used to be, if you paid attention, you can go on Google Flights, and you can look in Google Flights, and you can put up alerts, right? You can click on certain flights, and it'll alert me when there's a price change. And you could do that, and I would do it with Philippine Airlines.
You don't use Skyscanner.
I've used Skyscanner. You can try so many, right? Travelocity, on and on and on. But at least with PAL, and they only operate so many direct flights, and they're generally 3 every day. Manila to LAX, Manila to SFO, and Manila to Seattle.
All right.
SeaTac, I think it's called, SeaTac Airport. So those 3. I'm not going to Seattle. I might consider SFO, but I prefer LAX.
Okay.
So I just watch those flights, and they used to have sales. If you book far enough ahead of time, you could get a pretty price that was relatively close to a layover flight.
Okay.
And I made the mistake one time of taking a layover flight on China Southern. And it laid over in Guangzhou, China.
Well, how many days?
You don't want to let.
Was it one of those seats with the Flintstone pedals to get the thing off the ground?
Actually, Guangzhou Airport is pretty nice. It's actually pretty, but it's huge. It's a huge airport. But the security there is ridiculous, and they run your ass off. If you're connecting with another flight, I guarantee you, it's clear on the other side of the airport.
I had that at Hong Kong when I flew into Hong Kong, and I used to fly in Hong Kong regularly when it was under British control.
Yeah.
When it moved into Chinese control, oh my God! In went these conveyor belts. In went these security checks. You had people with little heads like that and these huge great hats. They looked like they'd come out of some circus, and they were saying you all have to go through here.
So never again. I'll never fly China Southern again. It was dirt cheap ticket. I think its round trip was like less than $500. That's really cheap. If you can get PAL on a sale price, at least it used to be. On a sale, you could get it for around between $600 and $700.
Okay.
It's worth it. to pay the extra
Yeah.
for a PAL direct flight. Trust me. I've flown EVA,
All right.
the Taiwanese from Taiwan, right? That's actually a good airline. I like it.
Is it still off? It's not gone bankrupt though?
No, as far as I know.
Yeah.
In fact, Taiwan's done very well in this whole coronavirus.
Control. Anyway,
EVA Airlines, yeah, I would do them again. I've flown them a couple times, 3 or 4 times, and I like them. But like I said, I don't like the stopover flights.
yeah.
And even though the airport in Taiwan, Taipei, is nice, I don't like being stuck in an airport. And their flights to Manila, from Taipei to Manila, and then Taipei to the U.S. Almost always, the layover's like 3 hours. That's too long. Stuck.
I just want to land, go through checks, get on the plane, and then fly. Because flying back to London, PAL does a direct flight from Manila. But the last time I flew with PAL, it didn't have any in-flight entertainment.
Really?
My God, I was bored. Jeez, there was no. I was looking for the television screen in the back of the seat. I ended up putting my phone up there and looking at it and going like that.
So
and people, it was.
you can. I mean, I've had layover flights that end up by the time you get to Davao, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm talking. I'll give you an example. EVA Air from LAX to Taipei, layover Taipei to Manila, then Manila to Davao. I mean, you'll end up flying for 22, 24 hours. You know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're wasted by the time you get here.
Oh, there we go. Right, so from that conversation, we're wasted in Davao after our flights. We've had our pizza, we've had our lunch. Take care, guys. Enjoy the channel. Enjoy Waffle on Wednesday, Food for Thought, whatever you want to call it. From Salina and from the Fat Land, take care.
See you next time.